Hi everybody, welcome. So in today's video, I thought that I would film a get ready with me using all Covergirl. So Covergirl is one of my favorite drugstore brands. I have a ton of their products in my collection. You've probably seen me use a lot of Covergirl makeup on my channel before in different tutorials. And I recently picked up two of their newer products as well that I've been testing out. So I've got the Covergirl Outlast Extreme 3-in-1 foundation, and then I also have the Covergirl Lash Blast Clean Mascara. I have been testing both of these products out lately and I have really been enjoying them. So I thought that I would film, again, kind of a full face get ready with me using Covergirl. I also, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I use the Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow Powder to fill in my brows. So I thought, usually I cut out the brow portion of my videos just because it takes too long, but for those of you that are interested, I figured this would be a good place to also show you a brow tutorial. So I'll be doing that as well. So if you are interested in hearing my thoughts on some of my favorite Covergirl products, then just keep on watching. So getting started with the face, like I said, I have the Covergirl Outlast Extreme Wear 3-in-1 foundation. This was launched probably a month ago now, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear that Covergirl had an Outlast foundation before. And I don't know if they maybe changed the formula and launched it as something new, but I swear that I have seen this product before. This looks really similar to their Covergirl TruBlend foundation, and so I'm wondering if I'm maybe just getting confused thinking that this is that. But if anybody knows if they've had this foundation before, please let me know because I can't figure it out. Like I said, when they launched this, they marketed this as a new launch, and then when it launched, I was just super confused because I could have sworn that this was not a new product. But regardless, I have been testing this out and I do really enjoy it. I have the shade 810 Classic Ivory, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get this on here. It does come with a nice pump, which is great. I use about a half a pump for my entire face, so I'm just going to kind of get this on with my fingers, and then I always just obviously blend this out with my fingers and then go back in with a brush to smooth everything over. But like I said, I have been wearing and testing out this foundation. I really like it. I think that it's a nice full coverage foundation. It definitely is not 24 hours like they claim. This does break up on me throughout the day, but it's not bad. I do really like the finish of it too. I'll show you obviously once I get this all blended out, but it leaves a very matte finish and it wears nicely for the most part. Like I said though, it does, depending on how much you apply, I have to apply a relatively thin layer, which is why I only go in with half a pump. If I apply more than that, because I've made the mistake of applying a full pump, it gets really heavy on my skin, and then at about like the 5 or 6 hour mark, it starts breaking up kind of like around my mouth and in the center of my forehead and things like that. So I'm just going back in with a brush now to kind of smooth this all out, but again, as far as the finish goes, this does leave a very matte finish on the skin. The one thing I would say is that the formula of it feels really dry, so it's not incredibly blendable. I think that if you have normal to oily skin, you would really enjoy this foundation, but anybody with drier skin, I don't think that this one would be for you. Again, just given kind of the finish that it leaves on the skin, I think it would probably be too matte. And as I've been using this, this is probably the 5th or 6th time that I've used it in this video, but I haven't actually had any like dry patches or any flaking or anything on my skin. But this seems like a foundation that if you do have flaking or dryness on your skin, it would cling to those dry patches and accentuate it. So again, I would probably recommend this for anybody with normal to oilier skin types. And like I said, aside from the wear, no, I don't think that it's a 24-hour foundation, but I do like the matte finish that it leaves on my skin. I think that with half a pump, I still get pretty like medium to full coverage. I can build it up relatively easily if I need to, and I think that it looks nice. So overall, I have been enjoying this. I am just going to finish kind of blending this in, and then we will move on to concealer. For concealer now, I'm going to go in with the Covergirl TruBlend Undercover Concealer. This is in the shade L150 Porcelain. So I am just applying this everywhere that I normally put concealer, which is under my eyes, around my nose, and then kind of just like in between my brows and on my chin, and then of course on any blemishes that I have as well. So This concealer is nice. It's a very full coverage concealer. It's a, I don't want to call it a dupe necessarily, but it's very similar to the Tarte Shape Tape. I think that if I had to pick one, I would say that I probably prefer my Tarte Shape Tape to this. Again, it's a relatively full coverage concealer, but it's one of those concealers, I don't know if maybe you can tell now underneath my eye because I let this sit here. It dries down and it's very difficult to blend. So as you can see here, I kind of let this sit underneath my eyes and I feel like I have to work pretty hard with it to get it to blend out. I just kind of like patted that out as you probably saw, and now I'm just blending out the edges with a brush. So next, to set my face, I'm just using my CoverGirl Professional Loose Powder. I use this in pretty much every video. This is the like saddest little thing ever. Look at this cover. This always happens to me though. Like that's my one complaint with this product is the packaging. For whatever reason, every time I get one of these, and I've gone through probably like 5 or 6 over the last few years, within like 2 days of using it, this cover always cracks on me. It's really cheap plastic, so it's like as soon as you get like one little crack in it or something, the whole thing just falls apart, and I've had to tape like every single one back together. So that's kind of the one flaw of this product is the packaging. It's really annoying. And then now the cover won't sit on it well, so like when I travel with it, I have to tape it down. It's annoying, but I like the powder. So I just use the little poof that comes in here and I just kind of like shake some out and then just dot this all over my face to set everything. And then I just usually go back in, I shouldn't say usually, I always go back in with a brush to blend out the powder. So I'm going to move on to contour and cheeks now, and I'm going to skip like bronzing my whole face today. I don't know, I just don't feel like doing it today. If I did though, I would still use this product. So this is my CoverGirl Clean Pressed Powder. This is in the shade Warm Beige. This is not a bronzer. This is actually just like a face powder. Because I have a very fair complexion, I often have a hard time finding a product, like a bronzing product and a contour product that works for my fair skin. Most of them are just too deep and they're the wrong undertone. So what I do is I found this powder like years ago, and it just so happens that the color of it and the tone works really well for my complexion. So I use this as sometimes as a bronzer if I want to warm up my whole face, but most often I use this as like a contouring powder just because it's got like a really neutral undertone and it's not as deep as a lot of other like classic contours are. So anyway, I use this to contour. So I'm going to take just my angled brush and put this right underneath my cheekbones. For blush now, I'm going to use my CoverGirl TruBlend So Flushed blush. This is in the shade 320 Love Me. I know for a fact that I've used this on my channel before. I really like this blush. It's a really nice like mauvey, cool toned pink color, and it's got just like the slightest bit of shimmer in it, so it kind of has like little, it's not glittery, it's like, how would you describe that? Like more like a luminizing blush, I guess, because there's not really like chunks of glitter in here, but it's got just like a really pretty kind of gold shift to it as well. So I really like this color of blush, so just popping this obviously on my cheeks. So moving on to the brows now, like I mentioned earlier, I use my CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow Powder. I have used this in every single video that I've done before, but like I said, usually I cut this part out. So I figured that since it's a CoverGirl product, this would be the most appropriate video to show you an actual like brow tutorial. So I will show you actually how I fill them in using this product. I just use a little spoolie off of an old eyebrow pencil because this obviously does not have one. And I just first kind of brush out my brows. I usually brush like out this first portion up to my arch, I brush out, and then once I get to the arch, I brush down. So there are 3 different brow powder colors in this little trio here. I, as you can tell, always use this first one. This actually, I don't even know what color this is. This is really like not good packaging because I do not see a color listed on here. I bet you it was on the little like plastic part that goes over this seal here, and then obviously once I opened it, it broke off. If I had to guess though, I would say this is probably the second shade. I usually do not buy blonde brow products because my brow hairs are darker than like my hair color, so it usually looks off. I usually go with like a soft brown, so if I had to guess, I would say this is the second lightest one. I'll try to see if I can match it up online, and I will leave the shade or the color number for you in the description box below. But again, in the trio, I just use this first shade here. This does come with a double-sided brush, which is actually really nice. I used it for a couple of months, and then I just switched to something that was a little bit smaller. So this is just a small angled brush. And I basically pick up some product, and really I just kind of like outline my brow and draw it on. You've probably heard me say this before if you've watched any of my other videos, but I love using a powder product for brows because I think it just looks overall softer and more natural than a pencil, and it's usually quicker for me to apply because I can actually just like draw on my brows and blend it out. Whereas like with a regular pencil, it usually takes a lot longer because I'm like, I don't know, being more precise and trying not to like overfill them and make them too bold and in your face. But anyway, that's why I like powder. So again, I've got powder picked up on my brush here, and then what I do is I start at the inner portion and I outline the underneath section of my brow first. And I also extend the front part of my brow just a little bit. So I just kind of, again, draw a line right underneath my brow. Next, what I do is I grab more product, and then I just draw on like the tail of my brow. I kind of go like right on top of it, and then just kind of like fill it in. Next up, I grab again more product, and then I start at the top of my brow and again overextend it a little bit and outline the upper portion of my brow. And then I kind of just like round it over when I get to the arch to blend that in. With this brow in particular, I kind of have this little area where it dips in, so then I usually go back in and grab more product to fill that part in. Then I grab more product again and then focus it on this front section of my brow here to fill it in, and then just kind of like run the rest of it through my brow. So then for the front portion, picking up more product again, I turn my brush sideways now, and I try to make this part of my brow, like I connect the little part that I extended it on the lower to the part where I extended it on the upper, and just kind of fill it in. I really don't know how to describe it for you, so hopefully you'll just be able to see what I'm doing. But again, I turn my brush kind of like vertical because I want the front of my brow to be more like square as opposed to rounded. So I just kind of like stamp it right there, and then I pull it over to, again, kind of connect the portion that I extended and then give it more of a like squarish front. And now I will go back to my spoolie here, and again I just kind of like, I brush the front portion up, but then again kind of like out and down to just blend the powder out. So this is where I will now go back in with a pencil. Just sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. It just depends kind of how the powder applied that day, but you can't really detail very well with powder, so that's what I use the actual pencil for. This is just the Maybelline brow pencil. It's the ultra slim version. So I'm just using the pencil now, and kind of on this upper portion here, I want to just apply a little bit of the pencil to fill that in a little bit more where the powder is a little bit too transparent, I guess, and then kind of like right here too. So just like the littlest bit, again, just to kind of add a little bit more, I guess, detailing, I suppose, where the powder can't really do that for me. So I'm gonna call this brow good for now, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the same technique over here on my other brow. So those are the brows. That is how I usually fill them in, again, using my powder. They're, of course, not always perfect. They don't always match, but that's, again, where I go in with the pencil to just do a little bit more detailing on the days that I really need them to be, like, more similar. Usually on a day-to-day basis, I will just use the powder, throw it on really quickly, and call it good. But yeah, that is how I do my brows. So moving on to the eyes now, I am going to use the CoverGirl TruNaked eyeshadow quad. This is in the shade Sunshine Escape, which is these really pretty kind of like bronzy colors. So I have used these TruNaked eyeshadow quads before. I have another color option that I've used in the past that I didn't really like, so I was kind of hesitant to pick another one up, but I have had a little bit better luck. Are these the best eyeshadows available? No, absolutely not, but I think for the price and what it is, they are okay. You can be the judge based on how I apply the shadow today, but I'm going to start with this kind of second matte brown shade here, and I'm going to put this in my crease. These are very soft, very powdery shadows, so just make sure you're tapping off your brush to minimize the fallout, but I am just applying this shade right into my crease. For the lid, I'm going to use this gold coppery color here, and I think this is kind of the trick with these quads, is that you do have to use your finger for the shimmery shade. So I'm just going in with my finger here, and I'm going to apply this one all over my lid. And then for the outer corner now, I'm going to use this deepest kind of like purpley plum shade here, and I'm going to put this in the outer corner of my eye. And then I'm going to go back in with the very lightest shimmery shade here, and I'm going to put this on my inner corner and bring that into the inner portion of my lid as well. For the lower lash line, I went ahead and I put some of that lightest shade. I just kind of extended that on the inner portion of my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take our gold lid shade and I'm going to put this on the inner portion of my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take the deepest outer corner shade and put that on the outer third. So that is going to complete the shadow. Again, like, are these the best quality eyeshadow quads out there? No, but I think given the price and what they are, I have to say I had better luck with this color option than the other one that I tried. Again, I think they're just kind of hit or miss. Like this first shade in the palette here, this lightest one doesn't give the best color payoff, but the other ones look pretty. And then as far as wear goes, because I have been wearing this and using it, it fades slightly throughout the day, but I was actually pretty impressed with the staying power. By the time it got to the end of the day, it wasn't completely gone or completely faded, which I kind of expected given the quality of it, but they actually stayed pretty nicely. Again, just a little bit of fading, but not too bad. Moving on now to mascara. The other newish product that CoverGirl has is their CoverGirl Lash Blast Clean Mascara. So this is supposed to be, again, like a clean version of their traditional Lash Blast mascara. I have to say, I love this stuff. I have been using this all week and it's great. I have used the CoverGirl Lash Blast Fusion before and I really like the Fusion as well. From what I can tell, this is the same exact brush. The formula just must be different. So I'll see if I can show you here. I can see just a very slight difference when it comes to the formula, and I assume that they had to reformulate the clean version to make it a clean formula, but the brushes to me look identical. And I would imagine that the brush is the same as the original Lash Blast as well. So again, in this video, I am using the new Lash Blast Clean version. I am just going to apply this to my eyes and I will show you how it looks. So I've got one coat on this eye over here compared to nothing, obviously. I'm going to go ahead now and apply a coat to my second eye. So this is one coat of the mascara on each of my eyes now. I have to say, as far as the formula goes, I would consider it to kind of be right in the middle, somewhere between like wet and dry. I don't find that it really trends either way, and I just really like it. I think that it provides really nice kind of like soft volume, and I think the thing that I like most about this is just the brush. If you couldn't tell from the close-up, this does have the plastic bristles on it, and it just seems to like separate each of my lashes and provide that really nice like soft volume. So I do think that I would consider this to be more volumizing than lengthening. I do get some like nice length out of it as well, but I would probably consider it more of a volumizing mascara. And as far as the wear goes, I do really like the wear of this as well. It does not smudge on me, it doesn't flake throughout the day, nothing like that, so it wears really well. I'm gonna go ahead now and just apply a second coat to my upper lashes and then one coat to my lower lashes as well. So lastly for lips now, I have the Covergirl Outlast All Day Lip Color. This is in the shade Natural Blush, and so this is kind of a two-step lip process. It's like a stain and then a balm. So I will go ahead and get this on. Basically, I wiped everything off that I had on my lips. This goes on again like a lip stain, so you want to make sure that your lips are clean and that they're dry. This reminds me very much of a Lip Sense product. If you're familiar with that, Lip Sense was big like a few years ago. So anyway, again, this goes on, you let it dry, and then you apply the balm throughout the day. So I'll get this color on my lips here. Again, this is the shade Natural Blush. So I'm just gonna apply this, and then it says you gotta let it dry for 30 seconds, so you're not supposed to touch your lips together in that time. The stain has pretty much dried now, and I have to be honest, this is like the most uncomfortable part of the application, because if you just put this on your lips, you are likely going to hate it. It's super uncomfortable. It's very dry feeling, but after you put the balm on, it's actually really comfortable to wear, and I do really like these. So I'm just gonna get the balm on really quick. Again, this is just like a clear lip balm that kind of gives it a glossy finish. So I'm gonna put this on top. So as you can see, after applying the balm, it kind of gives a more like glossy lip gloss type effect, but I have to say the balm is actually really comfortable. So after I put it on top of that stain, you don't feel the like dryness of the lip stain anymore. So what you're basically supposed to do with this is you're not supposed to have to apply step number 1 anymore. You just, when your lips feel like they're dry and they need moisture, you just keep applying the balm on top. The only complaint that I have with this product is that after I apply the balm a couple of times, I do, as I wear this throughout the day, start to get buildup kind of like on the inner portion of my lip, where you can see where the balm is kind of like building up. So that's really my only complaint. Fair warning though, these are nice because they stay all day long, but they are incredibly difficult to get off. I actually have to like scrub my lips to get the lip color to come off at the end of the day. So this is a product that I'd say you probably have to commit to wearing all day long, because they do not come off easily. So I think these would be great for like events though, when you don't want to have to worry about touch-ups, things like that. I will do a transfer. So you can see again, like nothing came off on my hand there other than the balm. So the color does stay put on the lips. I really like these. I think it's a great product, but again, just fair warning, difficult to remove. You've got to commit to wearing them, so just keep that in mind. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. I hope that you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me using all CoverGirl products. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next video.